Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Rose Code podcast, where we gather to journey through the sacred cycles of life, turning pain into power and wounds into wisdom. I'm Katie, your spiritual guide and mentor, here to support you on your healing and wellness path. Together, we'll explore deep, transformative practices that awaken the divine feminine, helping you reclaim your power and thrive. Every month, we come together for our live moon ritual, celebrating the new and full moon with sacred ceremonies. Be sure to check the details below to join next month's ritual and immerse yourself in yoga, meditation, divine feminine activations, and our vibrant community calls. Let's dive in and transform together.
So welcome, Brina. So lovely to connect with you here.
Hi, Katie. Great to be back again, and
Yes.
so excited to be talking about the menopause retreat that we're going together in January.
Yeah. And the last time we had a podcast, this retreat was not even in our awareness. So it's so lovely to see what can be created in 8 months from this connection, this conversation, and why this retreat is so important for women.
Yes. Again, like when I look back last year, I, considering doing a menopause retreat wasn't on my radar. But I will say, having attended your retreat down in Creecon on the previous year, I thought, oh my God, you are so magnificent at creating those safe, sacred spaces. And I remember thinking, how does she do it? How does she create such safety and such warmth and such a super connection between women? So I'm absolutely delighted to be helping and co-facilitating, let's say, in the January retreat.
Yeah, and same, like I'm just in awe of your wisdom and your knowledge and your passion for women's health and specifically menopause, but like women in general and how you empower them through your own experience and research is just so profound and needs to be spoken and experienced more of. So I think we're just such a powerhouse coming together to do this. So I'm like, oh yes, spirituality and science coming together.
And I mean, the research is there on spirituality and the importance of spirituality. It's one of the 4 key levers for women, and I think for men as well, as they're moving through their midlife years,
Yeah.
So with menopause, you've got, those physical symptoms that we need to kind of get on top of, the emotional stuff, the psychological symptoms, and then there's that spiritual element. And it's another part of this puzzle that I talk about that is really important for helping us to kind of thrive and live our best lives at this time in life. Katie, I was wondering if I could kick off here with some questions that I got from women, let's say some who are already attending, and I got a question yesterday from somebody who is thinking about attending. So her question was, she had never gone on a retreat before, and she was just wondering what would, going away with a group of women, would it be frightening? Or, she's talking about moving outside her comfort zone in 25, she said, and thinks she might like to do something like this. So what can she expect from a woman's retreat in the countryside?
Yeah, and this question comes up so much, whether it's a menopause retreat or a yoga retreat or meditation retreat, because women aren't used to doing things for themselves or putting themselves outside of their comfort zone. So yeah, I love that this question has come up. So remember when we went to Glastonbury this year, and it was a group of women of all ages, very closely and intimately together, and how it was described as a girls' holiday without the drama, basically, and all of the fun injected. So yeah, it's really common to be a little bit apprehensive, a little bit nervous, a little bit fearful. But just know, as Breda said, we create a safe and sacred space that's completely inclusive. You don't have to have any experience. Just come with an open mind and an open heart and a willingness to do what's best for you, even if you don't know what that is yet, but you will find out very quickly. Because a lot of women who ask that question and come to the retreat, they don't realize until they're there how much they need it and how much they need the space and the nurturing, because they are always the provider or the giver or the nurturer. So to receive your food 3 times a day cooked by somebody else, and to receive sacred practices and relaxation and knowledge, again, as women, we're generally the givers. So to be on the receiving side is just so fulfilling. So you can expect lots of relaxation, lots of laughing, lots of nurturing spaces, and yeah, meeting parts of yourself that are ready to be met on all different levels, physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, that is true. And just talking about the nourishment and the nurturing, I mean, the food in Mulvarra, in the Mulvarra Street Centre, is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
There'd be a chef preparing. She isn't Jackie's is a chef.
Linda is the chef, and
Yeah.
she is a passionate foodie. And
Mm.
anyone that goes to Mulvarra, and you can look up their website, the food is absolutely incredible. So think chunky homemade soups with homemade breads, delicious granolas, and all sorts of pancakes and oats and dinners of root vegetables, and just, yeah, a tantalizing treat for your taste buds, basically.
Yes, yes. Cannot wait. Another question that came in during the week was from somebody thinking about coming to the retreat was, if you, she's in her early 40s and she may be in perimenopause. She's not sure, and she's wondering if the retreat is for her.
Oh.
Somebody who's early, let's say early on, may have some symptoms, and she's just wondering if coming together with a group of other women. What I would just say, and what I've actually said to this lady, was that, like, people come from early menopause right through perimenopause, and some women even, that attend retreats, they may be in their 60s, because some women don't actually reach that one day after they've had no period until they're 60 or 62. I've women who are in that age category. They've had their menstrual periods all the way through their 50s. So being in perimenopause, being in early, if you're early, I guess the big advantage from the scientific point of view is that you're prepared. You're going to go away with a kind of a plan. You'll be educated. Like, the whole reason that I'm working in the whole perimenopause, menopause space is that I knew nothing about what this whole process and what perimenopause was actually about. And I'm a former midwife and a nurse, and I want women that are coming behind me to have the knowledge that we now have. Would you like to say anything else on that, coming if you're in your early 40s, Katie, and somebody wants to come along?
Yeah, well, I'm in my mid-30s, and I am really intrigued about informing myself for my future self, because knowledge is power. And if we can safeguard and do whatever we can do now before more symptoms come, because of course there's things that you can do now to make your journey even better, because it can only get better if you do whatever you can now. So knowledge is power, and creating a wellness practice for yourself that is specifically for your feminine journey into menopause, or second spring as we call it in the spiritual world, is the best thing you could do for yourself, because there's nothing worse being in a crisis in your life, when you could have prepared yourself before something happens.
Yeah, that's so very true. And what's wonderful for the generation coming up behind us, they will have the knowledge now as we're all talking about it.
Absolutely.
That is so important. Third question that came in, Katie, during the week from another lady. She's been on HRT for over a year and a half. She's made some lifestyle changes, physical symptoms have really improved, but she's feeling a little bit lost and low, and she's a lot of questions around identity, who she is now. We often see this as well, don't we, in the middle years.
Yeah.
Women, in particular, maybe if you are a mother and your children have left home, or if you have not had children. I was listening to a podcast during the week by this organisation in the UK called Noon, and they were saying 30% of women in the UK over 50 do not have children. So, we need to be inclusive of all women.
Yes.
It's so important. But her question was around that identity. So looking at changing her career, she knows herself there's more to life, she said, but she doesn't know how to access it or where to start. So again, something.
Yeah, I love that question.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I work with a lot of grandmothers, or I work with a lot of women who have never had children, and are looking for something to pour their energy into so that they can feel a sense of purpose or fulfillment. And like that, society doesn't create space for that. It's like, oh, you're retired now, so why don't you just go relax? Or like, why don't you just go put yourself on the shelf? Because, where is the role for women if they don't have children, they've retired, or they have this time and space in their life, and they're like, where do we fit in? So that's where I work with a lot of women in that age category. And that wisdom and that purpose and that passion can only be accessed inside. It's not out there. So through a lot of gentle meditation and soul inquiry and sitting with your heart, through the Cacao Ceremony that we'll be hosting, and through being in circle with like-minded women, that inspiration comes to the surface. Those aha moments suddenly start to be like these glimmers or these light bulb moments, like, wow, this could be possible for me. Because there'll always be someone who's a little bit behind you, but there'll always be someone who's a little bit ahead. So in this diverse circle of women that we'll be sitting in, there'll be all walks of life, and that's how you can see what is also possible for you too.
Yes, that is so true. And again, I think for women to be aware of as well is that as we're moving from perimenopause to postmenopause, our creativity increases. It
Yes.
naturally increases, which is huge. And again, it's lovely listening to women who are in their, let's say, 60s and 70s talking about how they access that. And that'll be something we'll be talking about over the weekend. Other things, I suppose, that let's say I will be definitely covering is how our brain changes as we're moving from perimenopause to postmenopause. Lots and lots of brain changes, and again, the changes cause symptoms. But the really good news is that these changes are temporary, and the change is for the better. And I'll be talking about Dr. Lisa Mosconi's work on the brain and on the menopause brain. Also, confidence is something we're going to be both of us are going to be talking about, and how confidence, 85% of the women I've worked with in the last 4 to 5 years have had a dip in confidence. But what is important to hold on to, it's a U-shaped curve, it's temporary, and it's to understand how to come back out of that when the confidence levels drop. Very, very common, very normal, again, because of all the hormonal fluctuations. But keep in mind, it's a U-shaped curve. You can actually come back up and out on the other side. So that's something that's we'll be covering as well over the weekend. The pelvic floor we'll be touching on. That's a question that comes up over and over. And again, how the yoga practices can be huge here. I'll be talking about the vaginal estrogen. Preventative healthcare, looking after our heart, our bones, and again, the importance of yoga and strengthening exercises. I heard a lovely line during the week about movement and exercise, that we should stop considering movement and exercise in relation to weight reduction. We should be talking about it in relation to how we're getting stronger physically as we age. That should be our incentive.
I love that.
Than talking about losing weight,
Yeah. because when you feel better, you act better. So, you know, if you're putting effort into doing yoga or qigong or breath work, you're not going to turn to all the cookies and overindulge, because you have this feeling inside you. You've activated this life force energy, this higher vibrational energy. So you're not going to lower that frequency by, you know, overeating or emotional eating or trying to fill a void. So yeah, I think it's a double-sided, it's two sides of the coin basically. When you decide to move your body in a way that feels good, has a ripple effect out into the rest of your life and how you act.
Great. My battery is starting to run low here, Katie.
Oh,
So I've
that's
just plugged myself in. So that's why
oh,
I
that's
was gone
okay.
there for a moment. So the other thing is, when it comes to the retreat, let's say let's say roughly to run through the times we start, we'll say, and the times we finish.
Yes.
Katie, would that be possible?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is optional, as I always say at
Mm-hmm.
retreat. So, you know, sometimes women don't get time to themselves. So obviously we highly recommend everything from the yoga to the workshops to the ceremonies. But like, if you're feeling that you just want to be alone or to rest, honor that. You know, if you need to take some time out, honor that. So like we said, everything is optional, but it will be running from Friday evening. Check-in will be from 5 o'clock onwards, and then we finish then after lunch on the Sunday. So there will be activities from Saturday morning, 8:30 yoga, right up into the evening, of workshops, of plenty of time for reflection, but everything will be in like digestible sections. So in retreats, it's really important that we have activity and gathering, but a lot of time for integration and rest as well.
And there's some beautiful walks around Mulvarra as well,
Oh,
the river beside
wow.
the Barrow, which is beautiful.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
there's on Saturday night there's optional. There's a dance class as well. Aren't we going to
Yes.
be running a dance class?
Yes, an
That is
embodiment
optional.
class. So
Yes,
all
yes,
bodies are welcome.
yes.
But it's very, very liberating. It's
Mm-hmm.
very, it increases confidence, it increases body-mind connection. It just gets you back in touch with your feminine energy through just movement of the hips, because that's where the feminine energy lies. As they say, the hips don't lie. So when you begin to move the hips, you begin to reactivate your feminine energy. So through breath, movement, sound, I'll help you to get back online with your body through movement and having fun, letting your hair down, and again connecting with your sacred sisters on the Saturday.
Yes, and everybody there will have an opportunity as well. I'm going to fill out a menopause symptom checker with each of you, and we'll come up with some kind of a plan for the next year. Let's say, looking at where your symptoms, where you are now, let's say, and the top 3 symptoms that are really bothering you. We look at those and see how best to manage them, and everybody will leave with a kind of a plan. And everybody leaves with a copy of my book as well. Some people will be coming on their own. Some will come in 2s or maybe even 3s. It's, it's completely optional. And if you are on your own and it's something you're thinking about, I would say, take that leap. I took a leap back in going back to college at 49, and it was the best leap ever. It was frightening and it was scary, but I am so, so glad now I did that nearly 10 years ago.
Look at you now.
Life changing, yes, and
if we don't push
transformative.
ourselves out of our comfort zone, there's no growth. It's like keeping a plant in a pot. It will always stay the same size, but when we take that plant out of the small pot and put it in a new pot, it has so much more space to grow. So we're just basically like plants, repotting ourselves all the time, and putting ourselves out of our comfort zone. Because I had a conversation with a lady that is in one of my courses, and she's 60, she's retiring, and she's like you, Breda, like this second spring, all of this energy and vitality, and like, wow, like I have the whole world, all my kids have grown up and moved out, I'm not paying for college anymore. It's like oh, I'm just so ready for life. And she looks amazing. And she said it saddens her that more women aren't aware of this work of breath, movement, sound, and, you know, how to tap into their energy. She said, I've literally just began to scratch the surface of it. And she goes, I can't wait to learn more. She said, how can more women benefit from this and know about this? Because she's like, so many women are moving into retirement or into this phase of their life scared, unfulfilled, disconnected. She was like, I want every woman to know about this.
Yeah, I can fully, I can fully understand, let's say, what she's saying, because I would meet them as well in the corporate work that
Yeah,
I'm doing. But it's the experience, the life experience, the work experience women have at this time in their lives, and you know the acumen and the ability. You know, they're so able. They've so much, you know, wisdom. They've so much knowledge, and again,
yeah,
it's about finding an outlet as we're aging
yeah,
for our energy, as you mentioned. And I mean, looking at all the studies, like, you know, we're going to be living longer and we're going to be productive for longer. So I don't like that word retire. I think
yeah.
you know,
We need
because
to
there's
really
a
reiterate that.
connotation that, you know, you're going downhill or you're
Yeah,
slowing down and the best is behind you. So
yeah.
I'm not a lover of that myself, you know. But
Well, I'm connecting with more and more women who have fully embodied this work and stepped into it and live by it. And I always say I want to be like you when I grow up. Like with you, I'm like, I want to be like Breda when I grow up, because you are like this way shower and you're holding the torch for women of what is possible. Because again, society just shows us the dreads and what to
mm,
fear
mm,
as we mature. But like you and so many other women in different lines of work, I'm like, you're such powerhouses. Like you've mothered, you've, you know, worked all your life, and now here you are creating something new and bringing even more to the world. It's like there's nothing that you can't do. But again, it comes with the mental strength, the physical strength, the spiritual strength. Like you have to feed all those different aspects of you to sustain this long, fulfilled, purposeful life.
yes, thank you, Katie. Um, Mindset is huge as well. Something we'll be
Yeah.
covering a lot over the weekend. The mindset and all the research, you know, that's there and emerging about how our thoughts massively impact how we are even going through the menopause. You know, and
Yeah.
one of the presentations I was doing in October, you know, there's a woman sitting in front of me, and as I was talking about menopause, she was crying. And
Oh,
at the very end, I just said to her, "Are you okay?" And she was a lady, she was about 41, 42, and she had never heard a positive word about menopause. And she was so frightened and so scared. And
yeah,
I, you know, spent some time talking with her that, you know, it doesn't have to be all this
yeah.
negative,
Doom and
you know,
gloom.
yeah, that we hear, that it's all, as I say, the 5 Ds, that we're diminishing, degenerating, heading downhill, or we're diseased. That's an old story, and it
Yeah,
has to be challenged. And it's only with women finding the right supports, spending time with other women who want to lift
yeah,
people up,
yes,
that people can change their mindset about it. And once you get the right support for you in
yeah,
managing symptoms that may be difficult, you know, the whole journey can be so very different, and
yeah,
actually a
yeah.
positive journey.
And I
Um,
think as well with the retreat that we're running, I have not seen a specific menopause retreat in Ireland yet. So, you know, some women may be put off that it's specifically menopause, but it's like we need to shine a light on the gift that this is and the gift of coming together, and these women that are on these journeys, some just beginning, some in the middle, and some, you know, towards the other side of it, that we all need to come together and support each other and, you know, bring the positivity to this phase of
mhm.
womanhood and this initiation.
Yes, and the gifts and superpowers.
And
That's a
oh
lovely way of looking at it. These gifts, like that creativity, that confidence that comes,
yeah,
the courage that comes, and
yeah,
again, that ability to use everything that you've learned to date and put that into your
yeah,
next chapter, your next stage in your life. and that has a massive impact on your physical health and how you're
Yeah.
going to age. And I've
Yeah.
seen this I've seen it in the research, and I've also seen it from working with women who are, you know, ahead of me, let's say, as well in the journey. So yeah, can't really looking forward to it, Katie.
Yes.
And wishing everybody a wonderful, safe, healthy, and happy Christmas in the meantime. And hopefully, if some of you are listening to this, you might consider coming and joining us
Yes.
at the end of January in Mulvarra in County Carlow.
Yeah, it's a very, very special place. The views, the food, the stillness, it's very, very magical. And what a wonderful way to start the new year, pouring into yourself, educating yourself, and again, like I said, meeting parts of yourself that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm so looking forward to sitting with you as well for a whole weekend and learning, Katie. I will be learning from you more than you'll be learning from me,
Oh
let me tell
goodness,
you.
I'm ready to absorb all of this knowledge and wisdom. But like, and again, when two facilitators co-create and really, you know, share their wisdom and knowledge, these women will be so blessed by the two of us to hold them. Because normally you might only have one facilitator, but you have two women here ready to hold you in your journey. So that's super special. And yeah, I'm very grateful and honored to be in your presence and to learn from you too. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Absolutely, Katie, and as well, I mean, there will be fun. You know, we both understand, you know, the importance of the joy and laughter piece in life while you're learning about all about this time in life as well.
Well, I think of all the workshops and retreats we've been on together, there's been nothing but laughter and
yes,
silliness
exactly,
and fun, which is all part and parcel of it. Yeah.
Exactly. So, Katie, I'm going to let you go here.
Yes. Thank you, Krista.
Thank you for listening. If you're looking for more, don't forget to check out the Rose Code community in the description below.